Welcome everybody to the CB26 patch preview. I'm going to go through the biggest parts of the notes here so you guys can know what's going on in the next patch. We're hoping to have this out this week. We're aiming for tomorrow. Just as a little bit of overview, we are focusing a little bit more on polish this time around. So far, just to give a brief history of what's been going on for Paladins, we've been iterating very heavily on the core gameplay, the core game modes, how the characters are structured, and how the card system works, in order to really just identify where the fun is, to see what's really fun to play for long periods of time and what gets you excited as a Paladins player. As we get closer and closer honing in on that experience, and it hits the point where we feel that it's really exciting and also the community agrees and everyone's having fun with it, then we start polishing it. And we're close to that point. So we've taken a keen eye to the systems in the game and some of the overall experiences you get when playing, stuff like the music in the game, being able to get the cards you want at the right time by crafting, general sounds and voices, and also some of the UI treatments, like end of match lobby, being able to get benefits and awards and seeing your experience go up on your level and stuff like that, knowing when you have a chest, all those kind of polish elements that we've been reluctantly overlooking for quite some time. We're focusing in on that a little bit more with this patch. So the hope is that, as you hop into this next patch, you get a nice sense of where the game is going and also start to feel what our goals are long-term for Paladins, rather than just iterating on some of the core pieces like the gameplay. So let's go ahead and hop into from the beginning here and just go into some of the pieces. As I mentioned before, you can now, we'll change the way you craft cards. Previously, when you were crafting cards, you would hit a rarity on a specific character. So, for example, I want to craft a rare Barrack card. You'd select that rarity, and you get a random card out of that rarity. We felt that, while the card system is awesome, and it's a good way to augment your character, we didn't think it was the most, focused part of building that character, and so you want to make it a little more accessible to get the cards you want. So the random crafting is now gone. In order to get a specific card for a character, you would just go to either your card collection, or while building a deck, if you see a card that you that you don't own and you want to get it, all you have to do is click on it. You'd spend the same amount of gold you'd get to get a random card to actually craft that card specifically. And we'll run through that in just a minute here. We've also added a login bonus, so that means that if you log in consecutively, you start getting greater and greater gold values up until the 6th and 7th day when you start getting crystals. So for the first 5 days of consecutively logging into Paladins, all you have to do is log in and hit accept. You would just get gold. And then on the 5th and 6th day, or 6th and 7th day, you'll get crystals. And so over time, as long as you're logging in consistently, you'll start getting some currency benefits that allow you to start purchasing lots of things. Down the line here, you will also hear a new voice in your ear when you're playing the game. We have reworked the announcer, so you won't hear the old announcer anymore. You'll hear a more awesome guttural man voice in your ear telling you all the awesome things you did during the match, but also in the lobby and main menu, you'll hear that voice as well. So this goes along with the next change, which is you will hear different music. So we've actually recomposed the music for the main menu and also in match. And so this music also has new hooks for it. And so, when you start to push a payload, the music will change and pick up with you. As you're nearing the end of a capture point phase, you get to 70-80%, you'll start hearing new build up music. And so we're hoping this experience changes a lot of the feelings you get during a match while you are pushing to the objective, about to end a payload push or win a round, or maybe even win the match. You'll start feeling more awesome. So a lot of music changes there. We've also reworked the entire end of match lobby. That's been fully updated, so you'll be able to see your experience move as you level up your account, but also master your characters. You'll be notified when you get gold for mastering your character. You'll be notified when you get a chest after leveling up your account. And we've also added in a full scoreboard treatment at the end of the match, showing lots of stats around how your teammates, and your enemies perform during the game. Along with that, we've also added in golden accolades for specific things. So if you were the person who got the biggest multi-kill that game, you got a quadra kill, you'll get an accolade for that with a nice little Grim Reaper cross scythes on it. And you'll basically just get, for all the best things you did that no one else did better than you, you'll get accolades for that to reward you at the end of match, letting you know all the cool things you did. We've also improved the bots a bunch. We've increased the frequency at which champions trigger voice lines. We previously, a couple months back, had a problem where they were just kind of talking too much. And we took a look at it for this polish patch and realized that we kind of overdid the reduction on how often they talk, where you don't really hear them as much as you'd like. So we've reduced that frequency back down again, and we're going to be reevaluating that to make sure they're talking just enough where you get the personality and the feeling, the excitement of them talking to the match, but they're not talking too much. We've also reworked the health bars in match, so it's a little bit easier to see how much health someone has. When you're looking at an enemy, it'll actually be a standardized health chunk. So someone like Fernando, who's tanky, will have a lot of these little chunks. You'll see a lot of slash lines. And then if a character's very squishy, you'll have less slash lines because their total health is lower. Also, just improved the overall presentation of the in-game health bars over friendlies and enemies, and made it so friendly health bars that aren't pertinent to what you're looking at will just reduce down to a name. So it's just less information to distract you from the combat. Down below, let's see, so we've made some various bug fixes like the mount, the health bar over the mount showing too much. Fix some animation issues. We've changed the message down below at the bottom of the screen from elimination to slayed, so you're slaying people. This one's actually my favorite. We've cranked up the ragdolls, so when you kill an enemy player, they just go flying, just slap into a wall. Especially if you're Pip, you can punt them up in the air with an explosion, or Drogos. You're able to play with that. On to gameplay. Burn cards. So burn cards are no longer lost on death. These cards will now last the entire round. So once you purchase a burn card, you have it until the end of the round. And then when the round ends and a new one starts, you'll lose all your burn cards and have to buy them again. We looked at a lot of the way people get burn cards and the experience you had during the burn cards, being lost on death, and kind of evaluated that and figured it just felt better to have them for the whole round, have some confidence in the cards you've purchased, and not worry about them constantly being lost as you die. And specific characters as well, like Grover, whose job is to get in the fight and fight a lot and potentially die, it kind of changed his playstyle in a different way than we were hoping. So burn cards will last the entire round long now. Burn cards can be purchased while you're dead. This is something we wanted to do, so obviously it's a big benefit. After the kill cam's over and you're sitting there waiting to respawn, it's a perfect time to buy burn cards. You save yourself some time after you spawn to get out of the base faster. So we're hoping that that's just an easy win there. And also, you can purchase them while forward spawning. This is one of the biggest issues we saw as well, that if you were on the attacking team, you kind of lose the opportunity to buy burn cards when you forward spawn at the point while you're doing the payload push. This, of course, is in the capture and payload mode. We have removed the all tab from the burn cards, though, so there's that goes away, and we've added the additional rule that you can only buy one bird card from each category. So you can't get, reload speed, damage, damage against shields, and all that. You can only pick one damage card, one utility, one defense, and one healing, and that way it really spreads out the burn cards and how you purchase them. Along with that, I should say Aggression, the card that provides extra damage, and Develop, the card that gives you a bunch of extra maximum health. Those two cards have been removed from the game. We felt that those cards ended up being a little bit too compulsory. You kind of always got them because they were so good. And it also made certain characters like, Eevee or Cassie that had low health, the maximum health just scaled them pretty hard and made them a little bit too strong. And we like the idea that burn cards are a little bit more focused on utility and counters rather than just being, that's the best one that makes me better, pick that every single time. So those cards are gone. You'll start the round with 200 credits automatically. This is just so when you load into a match, you start with 200 credits. If you want to buy a single burn card, you can, and that will last the whole round. Obviously, you're taking credits away from the next round if you want to buy those, or if you can, you can save the credits to get more burn cards the following round. But if you feel like round one is really important, you'll start with a little more credits. We've also changed the round end bonus. 100 credits will be given to the team, each person on the team that captures a point, and 100 credits will be given to the attackers for pushing a payload in. Conversely, 200 credits will be given to the defenders for stopping a payload push. So if you capture the point and push the payload in, it's worth 200. If you fail to capture the point but you defend, it's worth 200. So you get a little bit of a surplus for defenders, but we're noticing a lot of, in the competitive matches on the qualifiers over the weekend, players were kind of hoping for that defender bonus because it was so large comparatively to how much you get for capturing the point that we wanted to bring that down a bit. Players will now respawn on their mounts. Most of the time when you respawn, if you have no burn cards to buy, the first thing you do is just mount anyway. So we wanted to kind of get that out of the process and make sure you're out of the gate faster and feel like you're back into the action. So if you respawn, you will respawn automatically on your mount. You won't have to hop on your mount anymore, and you'll run straight out of the gate. And obviously now that you can buy burn cards while you're dead, most of the time you'll buy them while you're dead. You'll spawn on your mount and zoom off on your way you go. It's a lot of big cleanups there. The capture point spawn timer now matches when able to leave the spawn room. This is a bug that was causing a lot of confusion. This was the timer would count down to 0, but around 3 seconds the door would go down, and so the timing was a little bit strange there. Obviously, with the new announcer, you'll be able to hear him announce the beginning of the round, and kind of get more cues there. We've reworked on the system that tells you when you're taking damage. There's a couple bugs there that we fixed, but also improving the sound and the visuals and all the feedback you get when you're taking damage. It should be a lot easier to recognize when someone's hitting you from behind now, and also from the side and even from above you. The sound is now a lot more directional. We've reworked some of the camera effects to kind of connect there to show the direction better, and also make sure the UI, which had some bugs originally, we've cleaned up some of that. So you should have a little bit better of an idea when people are hitting you from off screen when that's happening. On the map side, we have reduced the size of Temple Ruins and Enchanted Forest. So those two maps have gotten smaller. We felt that the distance on that was a little bit too big. A lot of times you were spending too much time running, or it just wasn't the right amount. And so we reduced those, and it wasn't uniform. We brought the bases in a little bit and kind of tightened up some of the spots. That way, when you come out of your base, you'll almost drop right into a point area around one of the capture points. You'll be able to see that with the new maps there. There also is a new map being added, and this is one of more of an experiment for us. So we kind of had this idea that, playing survival on the siege maps, the capture and payload maps, feels good, but we wanted to see if we can improve that experience even and make it even better. So we made a 1-point map, which is a really tight, kind of corridor-ish, pure FPS map, and it's just a one point survival. And so you'll basically play on the same point over and over, but there's just a lot of tight spaces. There's like a fire pit at the bottom you can knock people into. There's a lot of corners and places to hide. There's a lot of cover everywhere, and we're hoping this experience lends itself better to the survival gameplay, and then you'll get more out of that when you're playing survival. So I'll show that off in just a minute here. We fixed several bugs on the kill cam. Still working on that and being able to register on that. The payload cart. Payload cart, number 1, has a larger radius to register now. We're noticing players were getting close to the payload cart, expecting to be able to save the round right before it ends. It was just a little bit short of what you'd expect. We also made it so the cart registers players who are above it. This did happen several times in payload and capture and payload. If you're flying above the payload cart, you weren't actually contesting it, so sometimes you lose the game if you're flying above the cart. We've made it spherical now, so it'll check anyone in a permanent radius. And the payload cart now explodes when you push it all the way in. Pretty sweet, right? I mean, that was something that we really wanted to make sure it was in, and obviously we got it in there. We've added lighted pathways for the payload cart, so you'll see a little kind of blue line on capture and payload maps, much like you do on the payload maps themselves, that kind of goes along and shows where the pathway for the payload cart is going to be. We have fixed a bunch of issues with Spectator. It's still not all the way where we need it to be. We're hoping in the next few weeks to have Spectator a lot closer to what we want as we get closer and closer to the $100,000 tournament in June at DreamHack, but we've made a lot of improvements this patch. And then we've adjusted some of the characters. So one thing I should kind of go over really quickly. Previously in Paladins, all the champions were classified by what they did. So if you looked at the profile screen, you would see that Androxus is good at mobility, right? So Cassie is good at crowd control. Sky is good at deception. So those things were kind of classified on there, and we wanted to go one step further and add class types to the game. This, number 1, helps you identify what a character is good at and really what their main specific role is going to be. And there's going to be some blending there with the cards that really allow you to customize your own playstyle. But this just kind of puts labels on things to make it a little bit more understandable from a lot of perspectives, and also kind of just allow you to help you construct teams a little bit easier. So there's 5 class types in the game. The class types are Striker. So these are the characters that will flank around and attack targets from the side. Protectors. These are your tanky characters that are there, like Fernando and Barrack, to hold the front line, put up shields, and keep you on the point. Then you have Blasters. Blasters are very good at AoE and clearing out large groups of enemies. So Drogos and Pip would fall into this category. They're very good at kind of getting a lot of AoE damage in to scatter people out. Then you have sharpshooters. Sharpshooters are your Kinessas, your Cassies. Very good at dealing damage from range, but obviously they have to kind of pay attention to being flanked from the strikers. And lastly, you have fighters. So fighters are the characters that are kind of like your Buck or your Ruckus. Very durable, not as durable as a tank and not as damaging as a sharpshooter or a striker, but they're kind of in between. They're your hybrid class. They're really good at kind of taking a lot of punishment and dealing out some punishment themselves. So those are the 5 character classes, and you'll see the characters kind of fall into those and go over those in just a minute. Pop those in there, but that at least helps it a little bit more, make it more understandable when you're looking at the characters and kind of picking your team comps to build that out. Looking at the class changes that go along with this. Now, certain characters have a lot in their kit, and then that was just from the original design to a lot of the cards to bring out a lot of that kit design. We've now kind of changed that a bit. So now these characters are classified. Some of them had to change slightly to fit into the role. So Barrick, being a protector, we felt that he, in a lot of situations, had a lot of tools in his kit available that just made him very strong across the board. So we've reduced that down. His ultimate is changing. So currently, Barrick's ultimate is Dome Shield. He puts down a flame turret with a dome shield around it. Since he already has a very powerful shield as a protector that's very good at holding the point, holding the front line, we felt that his shield uptime ended up getting too long in certain situations with the dome shield, so he's losing the dome shield. The new ability that replaces that is going to be Mega Turret. He basically just slaps down a giant turret that fires heat-seeking missiles, does AoE damage for a short period of time, and does a lot of just kind of splash damage, keeps people off the point. It's a very good scatter tool, but that way he doesn't have 2 shields he can cycle. That keeps it very, very defensive. Along with this, to get the dome shield back into the game, Grok is also a protector. So Grok's healing totem is now changing to Totemic Ward. The totem will not heal at default. There will be a card to heal, make that dome shield heal. But now Totemic Ward is he puts down a totem and it places a dome shield around it. And that way he functions very functionally as a strong protector, just like Barrick and Fernando, and he can hold that front line. Along with this, we've adjusted some of the cards, not too many of them, but some of the cards in order to fit with this new system to make sure that a protector is really good at protecting and all along those lines. And that's a good gist of the high level. Let's go ahead and hop into the game and check out some of these changes as we get closer and closer to the end here. So obviously, if we have sound on, we swap this over, you'll be able to see, or hear, I guess, the new music. I don't know if this is loud enough. Let's see. It's kind of like you're just hanging out, lobby music. So you just start to hear, a little bit more of a stronger ambiance. We'll hop into the match just a second, show off the battle music that you hear. But we've basically just, kind of recomposed all of the sets. Our sound designers and composers have worked really hard to kind of build up the sound in this game. So you'll see that when you first log in, also get into that. So look at the screen here. While you listen to the sweet music, we can go ahead and look at what's someone I don't have a lot of cards on.
Pip.
I already have those cards.
Fernando.
There we go. Okay, so on Fernando, you can see immediately, these are all no longer purple. Purple means it's purchasable. So these are all kind of the teal colors, so what those cards are unlocked. You'll notice that I can't click on these anymore, so these will no longer be a craft button. So if I want a card, let's say I have Evolve 4 here that I haven't picked up yet, it has a price on it. This is a legendary card, so it's 1,000 gold, just like it was before. It's the same cost. But now if you want a specific card, let's say I want Inspiration 2, I just click on it. Now I have Inspiration 2. So this allows you to really kind of get to the specific build you want a lot faster and really kind of allow you to customize those decks and experiment without having to worry about, randoming a bunch to get the cards. So that's the first change that goes along with that.
Androxus.
Probably one of the coolest things. Let's go ahead and hop into a practice. So you didn't get to see the login bonus that was on there. Let's hop into a practice match. There's the music that happens when you hop into queue and the queue pops.
Select a champion.
So here's your champions here. Let's go ahead and pick
Barrick.
Customize your champion.
So I'm locked in, the music picks up. I'm gonna lock in here and we'll hop in the match. Notice there's a different sound on the tick as well, so a lot of the UI menu sounds changed. Hop into match here. I don't want to talk about the music.
Let the battle begin. Point spawning in 30 seconds.
So first you'll see that the friendly health bars are now a little more reduced. You don't see them all the time. But if you hover on them, you'll see them kind of pop up. You can see there's also a partition, so you can see how much health he has. So relative to Ruckus, he's got a little less.
Point spawning,
less ticks.
15 seconds.
If you look at the burn cards here, these are now sectioned out in category. The damages are there, so you can only have one of each. But you start the round with 200 credits, so you can select say I want to start the game with Gather. I can do that, and remember, that won't be lost on death. We've also reworked some of the hit sounds and some of the sounds you hear when in the middle of a combat, hopefully to improve all that experience. See, the enemy health bars are a little bit easier to read. When you damage them, they turn white and scale down. So a big improvement there.
Double kill.
And down the buck.
Killing spree.
So there's the shield. We actually haven't completely fixed this yet. This is still on the list to be fixed. Will be presented similarly to how the health bars are presented there. As the capture point gets closer to 100%, you'll hear the music pick up. And as we capture the point, the music changes as well. This all just kind of improves to presentation. Self shields have a similar presentation to the health bar changes. You also notice when I'm taking damage, I can't find anything. If I take damage from somebody, you'll see that I'll kind of reel back from the damage a little bit. The UI has changed slightly, and the sounds are a little clearer when I'm taking damage. So I kind of shake a little bit. Sounds a little different. Lean. We've also reworked some of the animations, some of the characters that we felt just didn't have a strong, showy response to the way the abilities move. Don't do it. Don't do it. I have an ult. Oh, I'm going down. So there's the ragdolls you saw as I died there. So the ultimate popped down, did a bunch of damage. There's a shield there.
Oh, that feels nice.
You also hear a little bit more of the voices, that strong personality from the characters is coming back. As we push in. This is the line showing you where the payload path is. This is very helpful when you're playing the game, just to make sure that you know exactly where the payload will go. Let's see if we can. Yeah. No, Evie, no. Trapped in here. So just general polish patch, guys. We're just make sure that the experience of playing Paladins is improved. It starts to feel a little bit better. There's the totemic ward. There's the dragon punch.
30 seconds.
And 30-second countdown. The music changed as well.
Double kill.
So that'll pretty much cover it. If you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and shoot those up in the chat right now. And we'll just kind of answer as many questions as we can before we close out. Oh, we have the new survival. Good point. Thank you, guys. This is the end of match screen. I got the most eliminations, the most solo kills, the top multi-kill, and the top kill streak. When I end the game, I don't get experience, so that was there. But you'll see, here's the whole scoreboard. Bunch of damage, got some healing in there. Here's the kills and all that. So a lot more presentation on the stats, and also you get this nice experience. So if I did get experience, you'll see the kind of the circle and player level move forward, and then Barrack Mastery would level up as well and show all those little individual pieces. So that'll definitely bring it all together. Let's go quickly into the skirmish map. Slays are still eliminations, those of you who are wondering. I think it's this one.
Select your
Taxi.
champion. Customize your champion.
What is that? I don't know what you saw. You didn't see nothing. You didn't see nothing. Hop and match to see. Yep, so this is the skirmish arena. This is survival.
And so it begins.
So this is going to be a 1-point survival match.
Point spawning in 30 seconds.
Let's get nimble just so I can move around a little better. So as we're going through this, this is going to, again, you're going to play the same point over and over. It's just a relatively small map. You can see it's a more square-ish arena on the front.
Point spawning in 15 seconds.
And really, it's really tight, and without worrying about payload paths or open gateways that the payload can run through, you're going to get a lot of really interesting pathways and ways to fight during the match that keeps it rolling. Pop them out, and let's check out this new survival arena. You can see already really tight. A lot of tight places to kind of bob out and shoot. Cover's not really far away. You can dash across. The fog's coming in. So the point here is in the center. You see there is a fire coming down. That's because there's a fire pit down here. And if you jump in this, you'll die. Or if someone knocks into it, you'll die. So very, very, very pretty on that kind of temple ruins feel. So this area, that's the spawn room up there, so you can't hang out. You have to jump into the death pit in order to fight. And as the fog's settling in, you're fighting other people. And then if you get in trouble, just come down here, and then you cast and knock someone into the fire. Ah! And the round is over. So you'll play that over and over. You'll get hopefully a better survival experience out of that, so send us your feedback when you're playing this, guys. You'll have a higher chance of getting this map when you queue for survival. It's at 50%, so half the matches played on survival will be on this map. And then you'll still get the other kind of capture and siege maps, just to keep the mixture flowing. But you will have a high chance of getting this survival map if you play survival. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. The points are randomized, it's always the center. So this will be the final point here. The second time, it goes back and forth between the two. It's really just the center of the map, over and over. But if you want to stay safe in the fog, just hide inside here next to the fire, where it's nice and toasty. Nice and toasty. Okay, I'm gonna hop out of that game, guys. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to let me know, and we'll get into it. Oh, I just leveled up. Look at that. So a couple questions here about customizing your crosshairs. That's something that we're looking at. We are improving the crosshairs a little bit for this patch. There were a couple issues we found that we're improving there. And then the other question was around being able to change the character names or the player names above the health bars. That's something that we can look at. It's not in this patch specifically, but having more options in the settings in order for you to customize your gameplay experience is something that we're looking at doing. So, any other questions? Ranked, we are looking at ranked, hoping to have that as soon as possible. There will be no F6 to surrender. The games are relatively short as it is, and we want to keep that, players are focused on the end of the match. What is the end level of the profile? You level your account infinitely. Character masteries go to 25, which takes a long time to get, but you level your account infinitely and you keep getting chests for it. The grok change, I can hop in that really quickly, show that off before we get our time here. So it's really just he puts the totem down and gets a dome shield out of it, so it keeps him kind of on the point, and he is a protector, so you'll see that when you hop into the match. See if we can't get that there. The nice lollipop grok staff. So we'll place this down in a match really quickly here and show you what the totem does. There still will be a card to make the totem heal. Healing range is still in the game, but he will now be more protector. And that just spreads the shields around a little bit more. Barrack had a little bit too many of them. Okay, so we're in the match here. I don't know if you can see the screen yet.
30 seconds.
So a little bit of improvement there on the visuals. And then here is the totem. Just like the dome shield, I have wind totem here, so you'll see that I have a little bit of a movement speed boost on the totem. So I walk through it, I get faster. And just a little dome shield to keep the damage out. The rest of his abilities are still the same. You see his lightning beam got improved some to help you see where the end of it is. The totem duration and shield health is adjustable through cards, so you'll be able to kind of walk through that and build a very strong shield build for Grok if you choose to. And that's Grok's shield. We're aware of the Drogo's ultimate not having the correct standardized movement because some players that have low sensitivity like me, I play a lot of Counter-Strike, so I like to play with low sensitivity. It's harder to turn than for other people that have a higher sensitivity, so we should have a fix in for the Drogo's ultimate, and we're still evaluating to make sure the controls are easy enough to move around. Old Siege mode back. We are looking at the game modes to see where those fit. Bomb King is getting close, so hopefully we'll be able to show that off in the coming weeks. And that looks like about it. If you guys have any following questions, head over to the forums, forums.paladins.com, and share your feedback or ask questions. You can hit me up on Twitter as well. I'm able to answer those there. And then you'll be able to, oh, that's a good one. You can select a map you can set the mode for the challenge mode. So hopefully in this patch, I'm not 100% where that landed, but we were adding the option to select a map and a mode for challenge modes in order to kind of facilitate different maps for the matches on the weekends for the qualifiers, but also if you want to play with your friends or a streamer that want to play with your viewers, you can select the map and mode for all that. But we also want to continue improving the experience on the weekends for the qualifiers and then going past DreamHack, make sure the competitive scene is continued to be awesome. That'll do it for this patch, though, I think, guys. Again, if you have any other following questions, go ahead and head to Reddit or the forums or find us on Twitter. Share your questions, and we'll be able to get that feedback to you. Other than that, the patch is scheduled for this week with a lot of polish and cleanups to make the game representative of how much you love it, and we will hopefully have that out going into tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you in the next patch notes going to next week. We'll have more information available towards the end of the week. Take care.